Good evening friends, I'm Meenakshi and I'm going to start my lecture on general science. Today is the first lecture, so a brief overview about the syllabus of science. This includes biology, physics, chemistry, technology, which includes space, defense, medical, IT, robotics, nanotechnology and biotechnology. Then there is also the current affairs portions and which will be covered thoroughly, as these days most of the questions comes from the current affairs fields. And about the sources used mostly are the NCRTs, the newspapers, science and technology portions, and magazines like Science and You. So let's start. So we are starting with the biology portion first, and in it we are first studying the cell types and cell organelles. So first about the cell. It was first discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665, and the word cell is derived from a Latin word cella, which means a small room. So cell is the basic fundamental unit of life. It is the smallest unit, and the number of cell varies from individual to individual. A individual may be or organism may be unicellular or a multicellular. Unicellular like bacteria, multicellular like we human beings. Cell contains various parts and organelles. The most important are the cell membrane, nucleus, cytoplasm. Cell membrane is the outer protective cover of the cell, which protects the cell from external shock injury. Nucleus is the storehouse of genetic materials, and cytoplasm, which is the fluid filled part inside the cell, which contains all the organelles and nucleus. Cell also contains various biomolecules like proteins, nucleic acids, which includes DNA and RNAs. So there is the cell theory, which is given by Sladen and Schwann. So it is also known as Sladen and Schwann theory. And according to this theory, it states that all the organisms are made up of one or more cells, like unicellular or multicellular, and cells are the fundamental unit of all living organisms. And also that all cells comes from the pre-existing cells, means a cell exists and it gives rise to new cells. It divides and forms new cells. So here you can see cell, which is single, it forms cluster and it forms tissues. Then it forms organs, then organ system, and then finally a body, an individual or organism is formed. So cell is the most smallest unit, and in turn it gives rise to a body, a whole individual. Here we are talking about the cell types. There are two classifications of cells. So the first one is divided on the basis of their function and also their cell division. So first one is undifferentiated, then the second is differentiated, and the third is dedifferentiated. The undifferentiated cells are those cells which are in a state of continuous cell division. They go on divide continuously, and they are not assigned any specific functions. The examples are meristematic cell in plants and stem cells in animals. So the meristematic region in the plant is those which are the growing regions, like the shoot bud, root bud. These are the meristematic region, that is the growth region. So these are undifferentiated and they are in a state of continuous cell division. And then there is the stem cell, which forms other types of stem cells and give rise to organ systems. Here the stem cells are not assigned in specific functions. They just divide and then they give rise to different types of stem cells like multipotent, totipotent, oligopotent, pluripotent, and then in turn they form organ systems. Then there is the differentiated cell, which has been assigned a specific function like RBC, which contains a protein called hemoglobin, which transports oxygen in the blood. And then there is the nerve cell, which is also called as neurons, which is used to carry signals, electrical impulse. And then there is the dedifferentiated cell, which is also known as regenerative cells, and it combines the property of both the undifferentiated and differentiated cells. These are regenerative in nature. The examples include the liver cells and the cells in the tail of lizard. As you know that our liver can heal itself, and also the cells in the tails of lizard, when the tail of the lizard is broken, it can form another tail in place of the pre-existing tail. So these are regenerative in nature. So the other classification is based on the number of cells and their stage. So these are the prokaryotic and the eukaryotic cell. The prokaryotic cells are unicellular in nature, single-celled, and they are much more primitive. They don't have a true nucleus. Their nucleus is in the form of nucleoid, and they have a single chromosome which is highly coiled. Example is a bacterial cell. They have various organelles which includes capsule, cell wall, cell membrane, nucleoid, cytoplasm, mesosome, flagella, plasmid, fimbriae. And here the ribosome is 70S type. S signifies sedimentation unit. And then there is the eukaryotic cell, which is multicellular in nature. Then it is more advanced than the prokaryotic cell, and their nucleus is more advanced and distinct. It contains nuclear pore, nuclear envelope, nucleoplasm, nucleolus. So it is totally developed. Because of the more developed nucleus, the eukaryotes are also known as eukaryons. Example includes animal cell, plant cell, fungal cell, and the organelles are cell wall, cell membrane, nucleus, vacuoles, mitochondria, plastid, lysosome. Here the ribosome is of 80S type, and the endoplasmic reticulum is also there, which is of two types, rough and smooth. And then there is the Golgi bodies. So now we are going to talk about the prokaryotic cell organelles. The prokaryotic cell organelles includes, as I said earlier, the capsule, which is gelatinous in nature, which protects the cell. Then there is the cell wall, which is made up of peptidoglycan or murein, which provides shape and protects the cell. Then there is the cell membrane or plasma membrane, which is selectively permeable. It means that it doesn't allow every other thing to enter inside the cell. It selectively permits certain materials to come inside the cell. And then there's the nucleoid. As the nucleus is not truly developed, so it is the chromosome is highly coiled. It has a single chromosome and stores the genetic materials. Then there is a plasmid, which is circular, and it is an extra chromosomal DNA, which is used as a vector or vehicle to transport the genetic information in different host organisms. It is also used in the recombinant DNA technology to transmit the desired gene inside the host cell. Then the ribosome, here it is of 70S type, and it is small and it is used in protein synthesis. Then there is the mesosome, which is enfolding inside the plasma membrane, and it is similar to mitochondria, which produce energy by respiration. So it is similar to mitochondria of the eukaryotic cells. Then there is the flagella, which is used for locomotion or movement. Fimbriae or pilus, that is used for attachment to the host cell for connection or to transfer genetic materials. This is the diagram of a typical bacterial cell. So you can see here is the capsule, the cell wall, there is the plasma membrane, and then there is the plasmid. This is the mesosome, which is the enfolding in the plasma membrane. Here is the flagella, here is the ribosome, which is of 70S type. Then there is the chromosome, it is a single and highly coiled. Then there is the cytoplasm, and it is the pili or fimbriae. Now we are going to talk about the eukaryotic cell organelles. Here is the cell wall, which is outermost, and in eukaryote it is made up of cellulose. It gives structure and shape and protection to the cell. Then there is a cell wall or plasma membrane, cell membrane or plasma membrane, which is selectively permeable, same as the prokaryotes, and it provides protection and shape. Here it is important that cell wall is not present in animal cell; it is present in plant cells. Then the nucleus in the eukaryotic cell, it is truly developed. It has nuclear pore, nuclear envelope, nucleolus, chromatin, nucleoplasm, and it stores the genetic materials. Then there is a vacuole, which is used for storage, waste disposal, and growth. The endoplasmic reticulum, which is involved in protein and lipid synthesis. It is of two types, rough and smooth. The rough endoplasmic reticulum is involved in protein synthesis, and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is involved in lipid synthesis. The Golgi bodies are involved in glycoprotein and glycolipid formations. Here the ribosome is 80S types, and it is used in protein synthesis. Then there is the mitochondria, which is called the powerhouse of the cell, and it produces ATP. Then there is a plastid, which is a pigment in the green plants, and plastid is not present in animal cell. So plastid is of two types. One is colored and the other is colorless. The colored one has three types. These are chromoplast, which contains chloroplast, which is green in color. There is the pheoplast, which contains xanthophyll, which is brown in color, and then there is the rhodoplast, which contains carotenoids, which is red in color. and the colorless one is leucoplast, which stores food. So it is also of three types: amyloplast, which stores carbohydrate; eleuroplast or proteinoplast, which stores protein; and elaiplast, which stores fats. There is the cochloroplast, which contains chlorophyll. It uses sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide to produce food by photosynthesis. It produces food in the form of glucose, that is C6H12O6. So here is the diagram of a plastid which I tried to draw. Here you can see there is outer membrane, inner membrane, and in between them there is a intermembrane space. There are stacks. The single unit is called thylakoid, and the group is called grana. There is a circular DNA, and the fluid filled portion is called stroma, and the ribosome here is of 70S type, that is the bacterial type. So this is a plastid. Then the other organelles are lysosome, which contains digestive enzymes which helps in the digestion of extracellular and intracellular components. Extracellular components, when they digest, it is known as heterophagy, but when the extracellular components are depleted, it starts digesting the intracellular components. It is known as autophagy. That means it eats itself. Lysosomes are also known as the suicidal bags of the cells. The endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi bodies, and the lysosomes together forms the endomembrane structure of animal cell. There are cytoskeletons, which provides rigidity to the cell. There are of three types: microfilament, microtubules, and protein fibers. The microfilament is made up of actin, and it is used in locomotion and muscle contraction. The microtubule is made up of tubulin, which supports and gives shape to the cells, and it also helps in transportations. And then there is the protein fiber, which is made up of protein, which holds the cell together, and it also has important role in the communication between cells and also within the cell. This is the structure of a plant cell. Here you can see there is a cell wall, a cell membrane, there is a ribosome, cytoplasm, there is vacuole, there is mitochondria, there is Golgi apparatus, a chloroplast, then there is endoplasmic reticulum. This is the nucleus, which is distinct and truly developed, and here is also the peroxisome. The peroxisomes are present in the cytoplasm, and these take part in various metabolic activities. Then there is the animal cell. The animal cell doesn't contain a cell wall, so there is the cell membrane, ribosome, the endoplasmic reticulum is there, which is both smooth and rough one. The cytoplasm, nucleus is fully developed, so it contains nuclear pore, nuclear envelope, nucleoplasm, nucleolus. Peroxisome is there, lysosome is there, Golgi apparatus is there, microtubules, microfilament, etc. are there. Then there is also the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell. So I'm finishing my lecture here. If you have any doubts, please mention it in the comment section, and I will try to rectify your doubts. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.